Morning folks, how you doing? Hope you're smiling and I hope you're happy. Winter's coming. Oh no, winter. I kind of work the logic of winter is great. One is cooler, I keep warm on my fire, I cook on my fire, saving me using gas. Yeah, I like winter. And as you've seen on the last video, sorry about that, but hopefully I've sorted out the gremlins. But yeah, this is, well, it's still only autumn, you know, I mean, but the thing I've noticed, as you can see behind me, the leaves are shedding. Yeah, they're dropping at a hell of a rate now, which means one thing: winter is coming. And with winter coming, the trees are telling me they're going to sleep. Which, by going to sleep, the sap is going back down into the roots of the trees so that it can hibernate and regrow next year. Well, that now gives me the indication that's the time of the year I need to get this chainsaw sorted out, because now and through the winter is the best time to do logging. Because the sap has come down out of the trees, you don't have to season that element of it. That's already disappeared. So with that disappearing, there you go, get your trees down, get the logs made, and you could season in as little as a year, as opposed to when it's in full leaf, it could take up to 2 years. So a little bit of a time saver. But when you get like that, I mean, I've crossed all my T's and I've dotted all my I's, and even to the point that I have sorted out the cesspit of what I call my shed. As you can see in here, I've got the tool chest in now, and it is remarkably tidy, which gets to the point of what we're doing here today. Chainsaws, dangerous creatures, extremely dangerous creatures, but if you treat them with respect, they're good to you. This is one of the jobs just before I sort of start my chainsaw work for the season, is I'm going to put a light on to see if it'll help. It may not. Again, there we go. What we have is the trusty chainsaw. No, it's a German made. Everyone goes back, German made, German made. That's the new buzzword. It's German made. This one, yeah, it is German made. It's a sheepak. It was a cheap saw, and everyone says, oh, cheap saws are no good. Well, I've had this chainsaw now, got to be 4 years, and I have used it a lot. It's been my main go-to saw. It's never failed me. But once it let me down, and the reason it let me down was because I let it down. So this is, for me, a precious tool, because that is what gives me the ability to cut trees down, which I use for building. And we've got some really good building projects coming on, really good ones, hopefully anyway. I'm going to be building a dam, I have to build me an extension. There's a lot coming on. It's definitely worth sticking around, and if you do like my stuff, please hit the button at the bottom, subscribe, like, and notifications, because hopefully you're going to get a lot more now of working with the trees, because it's winter time. That's what we do. Back to the saw. The reason it did let me down once is I'm good and I'm regular at cleaning filters. This one, because it is just a plastic filter, it doesn't need to be renewed, but it needs to be cleaned. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see there, I'll try and show it to you. It's got some sawdust on it and it's a bit dirty. So what I should do was thinking, this is me, you know. There we go, cleaned it off. Put it back in. No, I found out that, because that's why it let me down, was what happens, because this filter does come apart if you're a bit gentle with it. There we go, into two sections. And the gauze there is very, very fine, and it will hold and restrain the real fine particles, which are the bits that get into the jet of the carb, and that's what really buggers them up. So I found that what I do, once at the beginning of the season, and depending on how heavily I've used it, but what I'm doing is, it's not healthy, it's a pot of petrol. It's a little bit of petrol in a pot, and that is going to wash, and I'll leave that to one side, to basically evaporate under its own steam. So we give it a good dunking in there, and I'm going to get a towel now. I've got an old tea towel. It was a tea towel, it was used for all sorts, now it's a rag in the shed. But now what I'll do is I'll clean this down. That will get the real fine dust out of the filter, because that was the problem last time. So, my error, my mistake. But what we do, get the worst of it off and let it fester. Keeping the airway as clear as possible at all times is vital. If you want the machine to work well for you, I mean, it's my lifesaver. Yeah, it gives me the warmth, the ability to cook in the winter, the ability to build stuff, the wood chips that I have from the pathways. This thing, it's an invaluable and valuable weapon. So that's drying off nicely. I will just pop it back together now, so that it's all in place, because that'll be, yeah, that'll be dry enough. While we're doing that, I'll just get a little bit of paper, good old blue roll, and I'll have a bit of a clean round in the air filter chamber to, again, eradicate the dust. And once you've got that done, the filter can go back in. The spark plug, it's worth checking. Take it out, check it. I know that that's a brand new spark plug because I put that in at the end of this spring, so I know that's a brand new plug and I don't have to worry about that. So next spring, another plug, irrespective to whether it's knackered or not, for the sake of the sort of £3 and giving me that extra little bit of security of reliability, yeah, damn right I do. So there we go, that's nice and firm back in there, and put that back on there. So we get, that's the air filter done. Then we've got the chain. Now there's many ways of doing a chain. First things first is what I, again, prior to doing a chain, and part of getting ready, and because the blade needs to be sharpened every so often, what I tend to do is, when every second time, possibly sometimes every time, but again, the side housing that's come off, that's collected, as you can see, and that is, oh, it's just fallen off, but you can see there, basically that is just sawdust mixed with oil. So it's quite a sticky substance, because you've got the oil that feeds the chain, the bar. It's not so much the chain, it's more the bar, and you've got to get that out, because it just builds up, and then it'll start to, bite onto the chain, chew on the chain, it'll restrict the chain, and become less efficient, which means the engine's going to work harder, the chain and bar's going to get hot and sticky, and it's not going to give you longevity. Like everything else, I was saying the last couple of videos about preparation, looking after, yeah? That's what we have to do. Look after this, it'll look after me. Now once I've got that off, then we go, and I'm just going to, just for the sake of this exercise, I'll take the chain off, because ironically, I had done this. And then we get the bar off. And then on the side of it, you'll see all up round here, that's all sticky sawdust, oily sawdust. So what we're going to do is we clean that out to keep this very cheap chainsaw as reliable as I possibly can. And to be honest with you, I have abused this chainsaw, unbelievably so. Girls, hold on, girls! Just a farmer going up the track. So we've cleaned that off. Now the base on that is, I've run the air filter. I know the plug, if it's not, take the plug out, clean it, whatever, then you put the plug back in. Dismantled into just the unit. Then we get to the bar. We've cleaned the outer casing where you've got the brake. That's now cleaned. And then in the bar, which again I know is clean, but just to be on the safe side, the screwdriver, oh, there was a bit of muck in there. The screwdriver end on the, which you get one of these spanners, screwdriver spanners with a chainsaw, and slides down the groove of the bar, getting rid of any excess. So we've now got to the point that I'm doing this at speed, but a lot of it's already been done. Then we've got the chain, and the chain, I know this chain's good, but what we're going to do is we're going to put this one back together quickly. The reason why I'm able to do this quickly is, one, I was a tree surgeon many moons back, which is how I have the knowledge on these things and how it works. So then what we're going to do is just put the chain back on just very quickly, because anyway, yeah, there was a mistake there. Camera was switched itself off. Indigestion. And where we got to is basically getting the chain and bar back on. Knowing that we're clean, all this and the other, I'll just show you quickly. You can't see it that easy, but there, that's the adjuster screw for the chain. And when you're getting the correct tension on the chain, I don't have one in my pocket at the moment, but there's another way I've done it as well. Is obviously, hopefully you can see, I'm doing it in a way where hopefully you can see. This is now at the correct tension before I bolt it up. Now, when you pull the chain, you should have a bit of give. And the rule of thumb is at the point in the middle of the bar, pull the chain up, and you should be able to get on the guide tooth a 2-pinch piece under that. Another way of doing it is using a Stanley blade, pulling that up, put it under the middle tooth, the highest one, and you go one and just hit the second one. Clear one, just hit the second one. That will give you the correct tension. Then once you've got the correct tension, pinch up the bar. And something that I've always done, because I was taught is get the bar and hold the bar just slightly up, because it will move up and down a little bit, because when you're cutting down, the bar will move. So set it in the position that the bar is actually going to be, and then tighten up the 2 bolts like so. Now you have an almost ready to go saw. There's 2 ways, there's several, not 2 ways, there's 2 ways that I use in respect to sharpening the chain. Now, one, the traditional way is good old file. This one's with a file guard, and on the file guard you will see, if I can get it on the camera, those crisscrosses. That's so that you can get the 30, is it 30? Oh, yeah, it's 30 or 35. 35 degree angle, which is the optimum cutting angle. So when you put the file into the tooth, the the line that's going across goes onto the tooth. And let me just see if I can get that on camera. There we go. I'm just trying. So I don't know if you're not really going to see it, but the line is now parallel with the bar. So once you've done that and you've got the bar pinched in a vise, what you do is go through the chain slowly like this, and you pick on what you see as being the bluntest tooth. Once you've done that, set the file into the tooth, keep that line parallel with the bar, strike. Count every strike. Anyway, yeah, drop the phone now. So what you do is you count the strikes. So whether it's 4, 5, 6, 10, depends how blunt the chain is and the tooth is. But once you've got a nice, good, clean edge on that one tooth, we'll say 5 strikes, just for the ease of this particular conversation. So you then roll forward to the next tooth, 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 all the way around the chain on both sides, and you do 5 strikes on each tooth. That gives you the perfect balance so that when you cut straight. If you're off balance, it'll drift off. So if you want a nice clean cut, always count the strikes on the bluntest tooth, and then match that. That's one way of doing it. I still use it if I'm up, this comes with me if I'm right up through the land and that. But the reason why I carry spare chains, all this, that and the other, is, let me take that one off the bar, because that's off from the other saw. Look, this little monstrosity here. I was a bit old school and I couldn't really be bothered. Because I've done this for years and I know how to do it, and it's, I can do it by eye purely because of experience, nothing more. Now this is an electrical one. Nice little electrical sharpener, and what happens is it goes on. That's on the wrong way around. You put it on there. There's a lot of faffing about, which I can't really go into too much now, because it's adjusting it to get it to actually work. I mean, it does come with instructions and it does explain. And then once you've got it set, switch it on, and that'll just grind the tooth down. And then to do the other side of the chain, you release and put it around to 30 degrees on the other side, and then you do all the other teeth. I use it quite a lot, and I have found it's beneficial for me. That what I tend to do is, if I'm up on the land, yes, I'll take the hand file if I need to sharpen it a bit quick, if I had a busy day with the saw. And what we then do is, at the end of the day, because I might go through 2 chains, or might even go through three chains in a day, so I'll have a tendency to take all the chains off at the end of the day, sit there with this, sharpen them all up ready for the next day. So that's the one that I tend to use this now more, because by having the extra chains, I can do an awful lot of work. By the time I've got through, say, 3 chains, I've done enough work for the day. Unless, of course, you hit the bloody ground with it. That's the other thing where people make mistakes, is they hit the ground. As soon as you touch the dirt, you've blunted it. Forget it. Stop, sharpen it. It won't cut efficiently, and then you're overworking the machine and you'll burn the machine out. It really is that simple. The other thing which is key is the raker. So many people don't do this. Now, if I can show you on this one, I'll try my best anyway. And I'll use this. So you've got that's the tooth just there, and that, but you've got the raker there. That's the little bit that's just in front of it. Yeah, just there. As you can see, the angle of that tooth is going slightly downhill. So the more you file this down, the lower it gets. Then what happens, if you don't take the top off the raker with a flat file, you sharpen it and you think, well, it's only creating sawdust again, it's only creating sawdust again, as opposed to like little wood chips, because the raker is keeping the cutting edge away. So you've got to lower it. And it's about, with the old feeler gauges in the UK, 25 thou is that it needs to be just 25 thou below the edge, the leading edge of that tooth. Your cutting efficiency will be so much better, and not only will it be so much better, you are protecting your machine. So that's that, and that's that. We now have the machine ready to go. And with that, all we've got to do is, in essence, we have down there, that's the oil fill for the bar. You get it when people get put chain oil or something the other. I mean, I only use cheap engine oil. It's not quite as thick, because you need, ideally you want something that's slightly stickier. But because it's the cheap way of doing oil, and I'm regular at putting it in, because that's what feeds the bar, stops the chain from drying up, the bar from drying up, getting overheating, stretching, working too hard. Every time you fill up, you fill that up. Then obviously petrol in there. This is a 2-stroke 40-to-1 mix, and I've got a feeling there might be some in there. Yeah, I'm gonna just for the hell of it, we'll try it. But there we go, that's a 40-to-1 mix. Put it in there, and in fairness, you're ready to go. And just for the, now this hasn't, you've got the prime on the side. When you get the resistance, you see it in a bubble. You've primed it up, switched it on, pulled the choke out. No, people, I'll put it on the floor and all. Yes, that's the correct way. And I'm not condoning it, but I've been using chainsaws for so many years, and I do a drop pull. So basically, drop this arm and pull this arm. Let's see if she'll go. She should fire up pretty quick. Sorry about the noise, but that's my chainsaw ready to go to work. Anyway, folks, that's enough of me rattling on. It's about preparation, which is sort of last of the autumnal tasks, because I'm going to be getting into the busier activities of murdering trees. So anyway, that'll do for now. We'll catch you later, and the next few videos, with a little bit of luck, will be a little bit more exciting. Enough of the boring stuff, but the boring stuff, ironically, is the important stuff. So, keep that right, keep that working. And remember, anybody, if you've never used a chainsaw, I would advise seeking some sort of tuition, some advice, because they are killing machines, and they will kill you in a split second. They're very dangerous machines unless you know and you are competent